Well, is silver manipulation to be broken pretty soon? Maybe. I'll tell you one thing, and I didn't pick it up. He picked it up. He reads the Wall Street Journal, believe it or not. He doesn't look at them silver bloggers or nothing like that. He reads the Wall Street Journal and gets the real facts, right? He's pretty quiet. He don't talk much. But, you know, he points out these good articles, right? Right? Anyway, there's, actually JP Morgan has a $33 billion legal reserve for potential contingencies that could come up. Well, do you think they're expecting a couple things? Maybe. Actually, they have been hit with a lot of legal fees, and you know, there's a lot of money they had to pay back and fines and all this type of stuff. But $33 billion is actually equal to the entire market cap of 333 companies. So figure that out. And Putin's like jumping for joy. He's running all over the place and you know, making his meow noises and stuff because he's like happy about this because maybe, you know, if Max Kaiser is correct about this stuff, you know, JP Morgan's holding down the price of silver. Well, somehow I don't think they're doing this, but if that's correct, well, you know, it looks like they're on the ropes. Actually, it's the first quarter. Not the first quarter of 2013, but it's the recent quarter that came up was the first time that there's been a quarterly loss under Jamie Dimon's rule. Okay, under his, you know, rule of JP Morgan. So looks like, you know, they're on the ropes for a number of reasons, though. It's also the mortgage-backed securities. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And, you know, I talked about in other videos about, you know, the aluminum storage caper with you know, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, and you know what's being all accused of these people and racking up the price of aluminum. I think it's Alcoa Aluminum is brought forth the charges. I think Boeing or something or whatever the hell it is, Boeing aircraft. Of course, they use a lot of aluminum. So anyway, you know, they're getting hit from all different angles. So what the hell is going to happen? You know, if this big I don't buy this crap about, you know, like I have a video out about the spot price of oil being manipulated, okay, which actually tells you about all the commodity markets, including the precious metals markets and silver markets, about basically they are manipulated. And actually, these charges go back a decade. I'm going to actually link that video up on the bottom in the information box if you want to look at that, because I pointed out a number of other things that went on, and even with the BP oil spill and stuff like that, that aren't really conspiracy, but probably based more like on factual stuff, you know. But yes, I do understand that the spot market seems to have, there is some manipulation going on. It's manipulated up, it's manipulated down. No, that's the whole thing. Now, if this price of silver was about $45 an ounce, the silver, all the people, the miners, would be making fine. They'd be making good money. I mean, I know silver's mined is a byproduct of copper, but you know, if everything was up a little bit more, it wouldn't have to be triple for them to make a lot of money. If it was double what the price is right now, if the commodities are not even double, they'd be making excellent money. Even if silver was at $35 to $38 an ounce, they'd still be, most of them are doing okay. So why would it go up over 100? Well, that's probably because if maybe this rampant inflation is going to come about that Alan Greenspan has even warned us about, right? But you know, why is silver probably going to go really, really, really high? I guess it's the same reason Bitcoins went high. I'm going to pick on them because I've never seen something go up that fast, man. That's gone up more than Beanie Babies or something, you know. And of course, Beanie Babies have intrinsic worth too. So anyway, the thing is, you know, it's going to be due to a psychological panic. You know, mania drives things up. It's going to the moon. Actually, this deal with Bitcoins is going to give me a lot more insight as to when the silver market is getting too high. Not only the gold-silver ratio, which I don't know where it's going to go to. It can go to 15 to 1, 10 to 1, 5 to 1. I don't know. I mean, I think when it goes below 30 to 1 again, you should be dumping some silver for sure. You know, a little bit anyway. Not much, because I really don't know the exact top of anything. But the thing is, you know, the mania, it can actually drive it up extremely high. Extremely high. You know? It could be well over the $500 an ounce that people talked about. It seems ludicrous, because who the hell knows how high a mania could drive something up. Now, something else is coming up in conspiracy land. God, you know, I shouldn't mention this too much because I'm not into this kind of garbage, really. But, you know, I casually looked at the Mayan calendar stuff and the alignment of the pyramids and stuff on December 3rd, 2012. And it was 21 days to go to, there was 18 days to go to, you know, December 21st. There was all these coincidental numbers and stuff out there. You know, how many years it took, you know, and all this garbage. I don't get into too much of that, but, you know, the thing is, you know, if we ever have some kind of crazy problem in a financial system due to, I don't know, just the way things are in the cosmos, you know, I think there's something to that stuff. I mean, it sounds a little crazy, but I think there is a little bit to some of that stuff where people use astrology. You know, I think things that go on in the universe affect the mood and psychology of people, which affects the markets, right? So some are theorizing that the Mayan calendar is actually off like a year. So we may have the problems in December 2013. So another reason to hold physical goods, because if you have a problem and, you know, the lights go out or some shit like that, if you got physical goods, when the lights come back on, you still got the goods. And if you got it electronically, you might get screwed over, right? You know, that's going back to common sense 101. You know, bitcoins might go to zero then, right? I don't know. I'm not hoping that on anybody, but, you know, I put out a warning video about that, and I knew it was going to attract a lot of people into bitcoins, because anybody that's not into bitcoins and ignores it, it's not going to go to that video and say, oh, bitcoins, what's this, right? So I knew I was going to catch some flack on that, but Bitcoins is actually extremely useful to me in this way, because I realize when the silver bubble hits, like right now, is it in a bubble? Hell no, right? But when it hits, the silver mania hits, the panic attack hits, say this big reset of the financial markets occurs. You know, Mark Farber's betting a lot on it. He's got literally just a hair over 25% invested in gold, physical gold. That's what that's my information. Eric Sprott says he's over 80% in the precious metals, including the mining of and all that type of stuff. I don't know how true that is or what. That's what he says. I heard there's a lot of other people, like Mark Farber alluded to other people that are heavily invested in gold and the precious metals markets and those related industries. They're biding their time. Actually, what's I think is gonna happen is there's gonna be this major panic and mania. It's not gonna make sense why it's gonna go that high. You know, and that's where I'm gonna be like, maybe I'm gonna be selling some short. I'm gonna be selling, you know, I don't know where it's gonna go to exactly, but I do think the mania will hit with silver at one point in time. Now, if JP Morgan is holding the price of silver back, like all these alleged garbage things out there, people say, I don't see it, though. I don't see it. I think there's something to that, but, you know, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, too. The JP Morgan type problems are actually coming from a lot of different areas. So they got this big legal reserve set up of $33 billion, and it's actually getting used up, man. It's astronomical. That's astronomical. $33 billion legal reserve. So, and it's the first time they posted a loss. It's the first time they posted a loss in a long time. So, I don't know. But like I said, the one thing that actually is going to cause silver to freaking fly is panic. And you know, I think then, I don't think I'm going to get on here and state that I think it's getting dangerous. I think I'm just going to let it fly and sell in tiny increments at a time, and let the silver pumpers take it as high as they can go. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. So, you know, I'll get whatever I can out of it. You know, how's that? And, you know, people are listening to me right now, possibly you should look at it that way. I think the number one way to look at when it's starting to get dangerous is looking at the ratio. You know, at the very peak, it may be 10 to 1. I don't know about that. But I think the next mini peak, it's going to be a little bit below 30 to 1. 30 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. That may spike in 2014. Because silver is a crazy animal. And it looks like every 3 years it's been doing this garbage. It's been having like a spike. But I don't think the major spike is off a ways. It's off a ways. But the guys on it, actually the guys in the top end of the silver world, it's pretty obvious that they know when to sell, because, you know, I talked about Sprott and David Morgan. They sold at, you know, April 28th, 2011. Right, I think it was a Thursday before the weekend crash. And, you know, actually I have to say this, you know, when you look at when they raised the margin requirements because they wanted to get the price down, you know, you can't really think they were acting in such a conspiratorial way all the way, because actually silver was getting into mania mode at that time. Now, right now the price is too low because the miners are losing money, but if the price of silver was like $40 to $45, the miners are making excellent money at that rate. But, you know, according to the silver people, it should be $500 right now, right? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I mean, everybody's going to go out there with a freaking, you know, one of those metal detectors looking for silver, for crying out loud, if it goes that high. And, you know, you know, that'd be the industry to get into. We'll probably bet on, probably buy some stocks in companies that sell metal detectors. You know, if they're going to be, if silver goes to $500 an ounce, you probably make some money there too, right? But you know, it's going to go into the mania phase, even though right now it's ridiculously low. It should be higher, but it's probably, I think it's going to go into the mania phase, and that's why I'm not going to knock the silver pumpers and stuff like that, or whatever the hell they are, because they're going to help me out. And actually, when it goes into the mania phase, I don't think I'm going to be talking about silver too much, because I think I'll probably be telling people the truth, and I don't want to try to knock the price down, you know, if I didn't sell everything. So that's the way it goes. And I probably won't sell everything, because I'll always keep some silver. I think silver is something to have as a permanent investment, you know, in just in different sizes or percentage of what you want to invest. You know, during the height, you know, I'll probably still have a little bit of silver. I'll probably still have a little bit of silver, because you know, it's, you don't know the exact height. Nobody knows the exact height or low of anything. Actually, if you knew that, anybody even knew this maybe 10 or 20 times a year, they'd be fantastically wealthy inside of a year. So you have to play a little bit more long term, and you know, it'll play out. Silver's an absolutely fantastic investment right now. Even if you screwed up and you bought it like $45, you're going to get your money back pretty fast, I think. But in a few years, I think you'll get more than double your money back. And, you know, that's the nature of commodities. You got to make sure you don't put too much into it, because they are very volatile. All commodities are like that, pretty much. And that's just the name of the game. High risk, high reward. But, you know, inflation still eats up money. So even putting your money into owned commodities is never a losing proposition in the long run, the way things are going, right? With the money supply being expanded all the time. Eventually that wall of money that's behind the dam, that's being the QE money, that's all the dollars that are being held by the large banks and stuff, it's going to come out into the economy. And Alan Greenspan's even warning about it, like, for not out of the goodness of his heart, but actually to make sure that he's not associated with it too much, right? So anyway, Just more warning on the horizon. If JP Morgan has 33 billion in legal reserves set up, that means they're expecting a hell of a lot more problems. And who knows, they might be one of the too big to fail that actually does fail. Who the hell knows? You never know. And what happens then? What happens then? So keeping your money outside the system isn't a half bad idea right there. Right there. Just beware, a mania is actually going to be what drives these metals up more than anything that makes sense. It's going to be panic. Panic and people going, it's going to the moon. That's what's going to drive silver up. It's not going to make sense. There's not going to be anything, you know, they're going to justify it. I know it. They're going to justify it, but it's not going to make sense. So it's going to be anybody's guess as to how high it goes. And I think it's going to go to some crazy heights. It's going to spike like crazy. So just hang on, hang tough for now.